Welcome to 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗁𝘁𝗀𝗃.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support my show and get help growing your houseplants, check out my Patreon below. Today we have a plant care video on Sansevieria, also commonly known as snake plant. This video was requested by a subscriber, 𝗠𝗲𝗁𝘁𝗄𝗯. So this plant, as you can see, is a real eye-catching plant. It is, as mentioned, commonly known as this snake plant. Another common name is mother-in-law tongue. It's a really easy to grow plant, which is one reason why I love it. It's a great beginner plant. And as mentioned, it's also really striking. It gets a common name, snake plant, from the fact that it has these long, sword-like, upright leaves that will be banded in various colors. This one has, as you can see, a gray-silver splotching on it, and then we have the lime green border as well. Others will have more of a creamy color, and some also have yellows in them. Whatever you do get, as you can see, it is reminiscent of a snake. It has kind of the striping and modeling of a snake. In its native habitat, Sansevieria will grow 6 feet tall, but it tends to reach 2 to 3 feet tall indoors. It's very versatile plant in terms of decorating. It fits into just about any decorating scheme. It looks especially striking when highlighted in contemporary modern decor, and under ideal conditions, it produces a cream-colored flower that's fragrant at night. That would be on more mature Sansevieria plants. Although it's often referred to as a succulent, Sansevieria is actually a member of the 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗁 family. The plant is native to the dry, rocky habitats of tropical Africa and parts of Arabia and India. The plant's botanical name was recently changed when botanists reclassified snake plant from Sansevieria to 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝘁𝗀, but most people still call it Sansevieria or snake plant. You'll have luck growing this beautiful plant in your indoor garden if you keep the following growing tips in mind. Okay, so lighting. Put this plant just about anywhere. It will tolerate very low light to a bright, sunny room. The more light Sansevieria does receive, the more vivid the leaf colors will be and the more it will grow. So Sansevierias grown in dim locations tend to grow very slowly, and they're not going to be as healthy. The ideal lighting is medium bright light. The plant also does well under full spectrum lighting. So in order to get that medium bright light, you would want to put it in front of an eastern window. Full spectrum lighting, as mentioned, also works as well. Okay, watering. Sansevieria is accustomed to dry, tropical climates, and it will quickly succumb to root and or crown rot if it's overwatered. So in overwatering, I recently did a video on this. I will put a link below for that video as well as any other videos I mention in this video. Overwatering is not watering too much when you water. Overwatering is really watering too frequently. So you only want to water this plant when the soil has dried out. That can sometimes be several weeks in between watering. Water when the moisture meter reads in the red on the 2 or 3. When you do water, drench the plant, letting the water run out the bottom of the pot. Avoid wetting the foliage and make sure to keep saucers clear of accumulated water, which will prevent rot and salt buildup. Though you don't want to overwater Sansevieria, do be careful not to forget to water the plant for too long. You will know the plant has gone too long between watering when the foliage is somewhat shriveled and puckered. If that occurs, water more frequently and the shriveling will stop. Okay, so fertilizing. Sansevieria isn't a heavy feeder. Fertilize twice a year in the early spring and early summer with an all-purpose organic food. I will put a link below for some good liquid, some good fertilizers. So liquid or a powder that you can put into your water works really well for this plant. Humidity. Since snake plant comes from dry areas, it does not require high humidity, which is a big thing for a lot of indoor gardeners who are always struggling to get more humidity just to some houseplants. So this plant will thrive in 35 to 50% humidity, so a pretty wide range. And that covers the humidity level in most homes. Temperature. Snake plant comes from hot regions, so the plant does well in warm temperatures, although it is a pretty tough plant and it can also withstand cooler temperatures and even temperature swings. So as mentioned, really nice, good starter plant for many indoor gardeners. So in terms of temperature, a range is 60 to 85 degrees. Once again, a really wide range, and that range covers most homes. Repotting Sansevieria. Sansevieria has a small root system and it does well in the same pot for many years. In fact, you don't want this plant in too big of a pot as it will quickly succumb to root rot when you do that. Repot only when necessary. So that would be when the plant definitely outgrows my 2/3 plant to 1/3 pot combo. That would be when you get into the 3/4 plant to 1/4 pot, where there's a lot more plant than there is pot. At that point, you will also see water running through very quickly, a lot of roots in that pot, but very little soil. That's when you want to repot. And as mentioned, you only want to go up one pot size. You don't want to get all carried away and get a big, huge pot for it because you will quickly kill it with root rot. This plant is in a catch pot, so it's in a smaller pot inside of this catch pot. So it is right now a good 2/3, 1/3 ratio, and I will definitely be leaving it in this container for quite a while. So use a cactus mix or other well-draining soil that has plenty of pumice or perlite or a little bit of sand in it when you do repot. For a great cactus and succulent mix, check out my video on making your own. When repotting, do so in a container, as mentioned, that is no more than one pot size up. I know I just repeated myself, but it bears repeating with this plant because the fastest way that this plant is killed is with overwatering and too much wet soil. You do want this plant to be root bound. That means that it is tight in its pot, and I have a video on what root bound is as well. If the plant isn't in good shape and you're trying to revive it, so say you've had it in too big of a pot, you have watered it a lot, it's looking pretty bad, it's lost some leaves that you've had to cut off, then you can repot it and try to revive it, but when you do so, put it into a smaller pot. So what you want to do is you want to look at how much root mass you have as well as how much upper foliage you have. What you want when you put that plant into a pot is 2/3 root mass to 1/3 soil in the pot. So more roots in the pot than soil. Really important, as mentioned, with this plant, and I will link those videos on root mass as well for you. Okay, pruning. The tough leaves of the snake plant hold up really well, and pruning is rarely needed. At times, however, you'll have a leaf that will yellow, wither, or become damaged. Remove the leaf with sharp pruners or scissors at the soil level, being careful not to cut into any other leaves or the stem. Pests and diseases. Although pests are rarely a problem with snake plant, mealybugs can sometimes crop up. Treat them by spraying with 91% isopropyl alcohol. And the mealybugs, these plants, the leaves are, as mentioned, pretty hard. So the mealybugs really don't aren't able to do a whole bunch of damage. So this isn't a real big problem for them. But if you do see them, definitely treat them and get them out of the way. And as mentioned, in terms of disease, the root rot is the biggest problem for this plant. So now know everything you need to know to prevent root rot as well. So there you go for how to grow this gorgeous, easy to grow plant. I would definitely recommend adding this plant to your indoor garden collection. It's just really eye-catching, and it is really fun to see it grow. Even though it is a fairly slow grower, it does grow. It's fun to see the leaves get bigger and longer, etc. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.